I've been trying to think of a decent way to actually start this one, and I'm coming up with nothing good, which, you know what else is nothing
Isn't very
good?
good. We gotta go talk podcast,
Indeed.
baby.
Rumors of our death have been greatly exaggerated. Again,
Again, we lived. We refuse to die.
we live, we die, we live again. And so it is written, so shall it be.
Argel podcast returns, shiny and chrome. So,
Yeah, what have you been up to in the it hasn't been that long. It's been like
been like a month.
yeah, something like that. Maybe a little more.
So I've been kind of playing catch up, trying to finish out my world eaters. I had to borrow up to the proper pointage to hit 3K back at our February event we did in Williamsburg.
Right.
And I'm now up to 2,500 points. So I just need two more Predators, Angron, and um, two Javelins, and then I'm done with World Eaters for now.
Yeah, my thoughts on
Hopefully,
Angron
we're
have
done.
definitely improved since that event. Talking to I don't remember what his name is, but
Oh
basically
boy,
told
from
me, yeah,
yeah,
it was like, yeah, the he gets hit on twos thing, or his count on his weapon skill 3 doesn't count in a challenge because that's just how challenges work. So I've only used him once since then, and it was like his awkward 2v1 where I was the
yeah.
one, and I brought him against Solar Aux and Mechanicum and just challenged 5 Solar Aux dudes at once, and it was exactly what you would expect to happen.
Glorious. A good time was had by Angron.
As much as he can, anyway.
He came here to be attacked. Honestly, he's having such a good time right now.
Yeah.
So no, definitely worth. You gotta love the man, Angron. I rate him highly after that event.
Yeah.
Holy shit, did he? I also increasingly, this is like piss of the life. This isn't even piss of the year. This is piss of the life. The lion can just make 8-inch charges without having to roll them.
Yeah, he sure can.
That's just a thing.
That's just a thing he does.
No one else can do that. Just him.
A Demons of the Ruin Storm HQ with Eternal Reveler can do that, but I think it's like their initiative instead of a flat 8.
Yeah. Um.
So, I mean, there's that.
You know, not super great. I mean, it's almost as good, but not as good. But
Yeah.
turns out, as long as you stay greater than 8 inches away and you just hose the lion and his buddies with Volkite, then it turns out to not be an issue.
Yeah.
So, heavy Volkite do their job. Once
Honestly,
again,
the
reaffirming.
more I play this game, the more Volkite grows on me. Like, I was never super into it when I first started and, like, all through first edition, but
Yeah.
I've been getting significant usage out of it in fun ways.
Yeah. It's grown in my estimation. To my thinking, it's kind of up there with las cannon as like the go-to heavy weapons.
Yeah, if you can take it, you should.
Yeah. I was talking with somebody the other day who's just kind of getting started and getting into it. I was telling them like pretty much if you're gonna take a heavy weapon squad, unless you have some thematic or like you just have a love of something else, like take Volkite or las cannons. That's what's gonna be your best bang for your buck.
Autocannons can pull some weight. I've seen it happen.
Autocannons can, but like if you're just getting started and you don't want to dump a bunch of money in,
Sure.
like if you're only gonna build, you know, 5 or 10 heavy weapon support guys, you're gonna do 10. Pick your Volkite or las cannon. You're gonna do, a squad of 5 each, do a squad of 5 each, something like that. You know, they're like the starting point for heavy weapons and heavy sport. I feel like,
Yeah.
but other than that, I'm also been slowly figuring out and pointing out my eternally always gonna do it, but never quite get it done. Sisters of Silence list,
Yes.
because I believe that they can be great. The perfect woman list, in fact, if you will, perfect
Indeed.
women list. So more on that as I build more of that. But I think you've been doing some Sisters of Silence love yourself, man. How what have you been doing?
Yeah, so I have I've finally finished my pigs and squigs demons, with the exception of my gargantuan squiggoth as my archdemon, but he's like 25% done. But then Ed was like, Eric, just for me, make sure next time you come with that guy, he's got a couple more colors on him. Like, even though his skin's fairly well done, his head's almost done. I'm like, okay, Ed, I guess I'm not legally allowed to play this until I put more effort into it. And I haven't been painting that lately. I've been working on my white scars again. That's like my second or third white scars revival this edition to try and like really pull them off. And
Yeah,
part of that has been the Sisters of Silence allied detachment I alluded to in the last episode. I've played a number of games with them by now. I have come to the conclusion just this past week that as absolutely hilarious as the snare cannons are, they just the thing that is better than making a Domitar not move is just killing the Domitar. So I
definitely.
think I'm gonna try them out with needle cannons instead. In the meantime, I did paint the troop squad for that detachment just like as a test scheme. It came out pretty good, I think. I am almost finished with 2 out of my 4 Kizagon speeders. So I just got the washes on one of them, and then go back on both of them and just like cover up the mistakes, and they'll be good.
Yeah, no, I've seen the work you've been doing, and for our viewers at home who have not seen, he's doing good work on it.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the White Scars in general, and it mostly comes in on the vehicles, not so much the jet bikes, just because the jet bikes that I have don't have the space for it. But I really like the arrows. I don't really know where they come from or what like the significance of them is, but you look at any given White Scars model, and there's probably going to be some red arrows on there, and
The red triangles all coming up off every edge.
yeah, I just fucking
Yeah,
freehand that shit, and it comes out pretty well. And it's a nice way to like customize them because none of my javelins or my Kizagans have the same arrows in the same spot.
oh yeah. So I mean, yeah, no, they look good for the viewers at home. They look good. I Every time I see your white scars army, I'm like, man, I really should make some white scars. But I'm like, no, I can't afford to do like a 19th army.
Yeah, I mean, then we're never gonna beat the allegations.
Exactly.
Like it's already
We're
bad enough. Bad enough.
we are slowly becoming a hive mind. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. But um, yeah, I what's your? I don't think in the since our last episode, there's been any real Horus Heresy releases, have there?
I mean, nothing like spectacular. They've had like the tarantulas, which are fine. Like I don't hate that they're out there. I think the Ursarax might have released since then. And I tell you
Did
what,
they?
possibly. I mean, I know they're released now if they weren't already. But I tell you what, so I love Ursarax,
Right.
like to a fault almost. I came very close in first edition to just getting a mech allied detachment for my world leaders just to bring Ursarax. I run 9 of them in my mech list, and I need to, build that list up from 2,500 to 3K. I might just put 500 points of Ursarax in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would not be bad at all. Yeah, no, Earth Strikes are good. I forgot they came out. Yeah. I've they're kind of a wish list unit for my finishing of my mech, which I will eventually do. Although I did find out that the mech I have turns out Thanatar solves all the problems of heavy support that I was missing in my world leaders. Just add a Thanatar.
Yeah, so I played against a mech list on Thursday, and I mean it was Cybernetica, so he was doing all the fun
Yeah.
Cybernetica shit to it. But man, they've toned it down because it's not flat AP2 anymore. But god damn, is the Thanatar still a war crime?
Oh yeah. Well, the Calyx is still. I think the Calyx might be AP1.
Yeah, with the last can, I'm just talking about the
Yeah.
standard fucking
Regular
plasma
one. Yeah.
mortar is still just gross.
It is a war crime. The last cannon one is definitely a war crime. I've been putting pain and suffering on people with that.
I have the materials to do so, but I'm probably going to end up replacing my Arlatax with a Paragon of Metal Calyx Thanatar because I'm sure that's a totally original thought that nobody else has ever
Right.
had. And it just sounds gross.
Yeah, I ran Paragon of Metal and I found it really didn't do anything for the Thanatar because the Thanatar is supposed to be shooting. Paragon is what, mostly weapon skill and
It gives you the
toughness?
weapon skill bonus, but the most important thing for the Thanatar with the last cannon is the precision shot 4 up. So, hey,
That's
that's a
true.
nice
Yeah.
fucking Praetor you got here. Eat a strength 10 last cannon on him specifically.
Yeah. Ouch. Also start picking use it to pick Primarchs out of bodyguard squads too. It's
Yeah, I
actually a
mean
strong enough gun to
that's
hurt a
an
Primarch.
option.
What, 2 or 3 shots?
Possibly even 4. I don't. Hold on, let me check.
Oh,
Yeah, let me see here. The Arachnus. Is the Arachnus?
no, it's not an
No, the
Arachnus.
Solex Heavy Las. Yeah,
Yeah.
Strength 10, AP2, Heavy 3, Armor Bane, Shock Pulls. So, like, that ain't gonna. Those that won't
Too
matter
much.
against a Primarch. I mean, Concussive wouldn't
No.
either because they're immune to all that. But,
Yeah.
yeah, just,
Still
yeah, 3
three.
shots of Las Cannon. Like, yeah, hey, shit ass.
Yeah, wounding them on it too. You know. So I mean, it's not nothing.
IDs Custodes.
It does. Yeah. I see you brought a 3,000 point list. You can bring a Tribune. Don't bother taking them out of the box, homie. But yeah, no. Yeah, the Calyx is so good. But yeah, I don't really have any. I do have a piss of the week. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about a pick, but definitely a piss. The fact that GW keeps counting Legiones Imperialis as Horus Heresy releases.
Yeah.
I think that's a piss of the week. Like,
I think this week we got a Middle Earth one too for Thursday.
yeah, Middle Earth is definitely not a Horus Heresy, so that's not Heresy Thursday at all. So, not super happy with that. I think that's kind of lame. It's sort of cheating to say, oh well, it's a different game, but it's set in the same setting, so it counts. If there was
Yeah.
a 40K day, would they give the 40K guys, hey, we made a box of playing cards that has Gilliman's face on it. Here you go. No, but that's here and there. Do you have any picks or pisses?
I reckon my pick might be them plastic Thalax or plastic Ursarax. Plastic Thalax too. I think very highly of Thalax. So
That's a
I
good
don't
kit.
know that I need any more right now. Although there is definitely the possibility. But yeah, it's all good stuff. They're doing all sorts of plastic mech, which is it. On the one hand, it's nice to see because it needs to be out there, and mech is a very niche army already, and more people should play it. But also, I don't want more people to play it because it's a very good army, and it PP hurt real bad.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree. I think one of the things, people accuse the Horus Heresy of being Space Marine on Space Marine, which, to be fair, it is. But making the other armies and other factions more accessible in plastic is a step in the right direction, for sure, 100%.
For sure.
Now we just need those crazy dark mech guys that they've teased in Legiones Imperialis to get a 28 millimeter
Oh
scale
yeah,
model.
it absolutely wild that LI got the fun dark mech stuff, and we had a whole last dark mech book, and they just didn't.
They yeah, they gave us, here's a $60 book for that is just a summary of the free PDF you already had.
Yeah, like I think so. Mike sent me a bunch of pictures of the rules when they came out, and I don't remember like all of what is in there. But they did make some like new techno arcana. Like I think if I want to run the dark mech list that I had been running, I would need to change. At the very least, I would need to change my techno arcana. I don't really remember the like all of what that is. But I mean,
Right?
there's something in there. I don't think there's any new units, but there's something in there. And I think like the new Cyberthurgene stuff, as I recall, was pretty neat. But
Yeah,
yeah, no fun like fucking big War of the Worlds stalker shooty things.
yeah, nothing Whamadine.
All
Getting
right,
back to
so
our nonsense.
yeah, so for today's episode, we're doing some. We're taking a look at basically how to betray your Primarch, right? So we all know that, and it's been there's lore for it for a lot of things forever. They like to say that there were always loyalists of every legion and traitors of every legion. Well, how effective is that actually for the game? If you wanted to build an army and flip flop your loyalties, what's the best way to do it? Like, who gets the most out of that? And who are you better off just keeping that idea in your head?
Yes, I I think that for the most part, just kind of 1,000 foot view. Some of the legions, it really doesn't seem to matter what side you play on. They're going to play pretty much the same. Dark Angels, for example, does not seem to matter what side you play it on.
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, if you want to lose all of your characters, your named characters, then play Traitor.
But funnily enough, that's not always the case, and we'll get to those when we get to those. But yeah, that's not always the case.
It definitely is not. You can, yeah, looking through, yeah, they don't have anything that flips. For instance, next one down the list, you get the Emperor's Children.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean,
They,
I do just want to like talk about each one a little bit. So yeah, the Dark Angels, like you'll only lose your special characters, but right, I mean, for the most part, if you're doing something like this, you have like a narrative idea in play already, unless you just want to be a hipster. But there is like a lot of good storytelling you can do with Dark Angels because of the whole Luther thing. He was like best buddies with Typhon beforehand. So if you do something like combo the Eschaton Imperative with Death Guard Creeping Death, and you absolutely can do that, like that'd be fucking crazy. But yeah,
that would be really good, yeah.
as far as rules go, yeah, like you'll lose your special characters, and that's it. Though to be fair, I think the Dark Angels do have like some really good characters. Obviously, for all of these, you're not going to get your Primarch. We're just assuming that people aren't bringing Primarchs all the time, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. So, well, it's not a bad choice. It's very middle of the road, or I would say. You're
Right.
giving up your characters. Such a strong legion either way.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
won't lose out.
Like you still get your Cenobium, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Traitor Cenobium are a thing.
And then yeah, Emperor's Children are next. So a lot of these, um, the idea is usually cut across for like what you gain is generally going to be a warlord trait. So in this instance, you get the Martyrs of Istvan trait for Emperor's Children is a loyalist only trait, and it gives you a +1 to hit rolls when you're in combat with traitor Astartes, and you get an assault phase reaction, which is pretty good. Like if
Yeah.
you're in a because it's not like some of them where it's with an independent character or anything. It's just anything. So if you've got like your praetor is going to hit basic dudes on twos, you know, your even your
Yeah.
despoilers are going to hit other despoilers on threes, and you're hopefully going to be going faster. Now you do lose a fair amount. Um, you lose the broken mirror trait, which is whenever you or anyone within 12 inches of your warlord fails morale check, you basically do like the demon thing where you just suffer wounds instead. You just suffer one.
Yeah, which isn't. Yeah, it's not a bad trait, but
I mean, it's
losing it is
not,
going to
but
kill
it,
you.
it it falls into like the planning to fail things, which is fine in some instances. Like, yeah, you know, pay the points for Vexillas because they're very useful, but they are a plan to fail upgrade. But your warlord trait, I mean, you get an extra shooting phase reaction, which is pretty good. But like honestly, if I were to want an extra shooting phase reaction, I would just take Stoic Defender, even with Emperor's Children, even if you're just using bolt pistols, because there's still a lot of ways that can be decent.
Dark Defenders is always good. It's always a good choice.
You're also going to be losing Cacophony and Third Company Elite, which like if you're right, it's one of those things like we're talking about narrative, right? Is why you're doing this probably. You're not going to be running Third Company Elite anyway, and probably not Cacophony, so it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
And also like opinions on that rite of war and that unit are mixed at best.
Yeah. Now you do lose your. Now you can still take Paragon of Excellence as a warlord trait, which is a pretty good warlord trait. So
Right.
that's loyalty agnostic. You do lose surgical augments as well.
Yeah, that's the big one.
No
That's a
surgical
big
augments for
one.
you. Yeah, not having subsonic pulsar or sonic shriekers is big. But you can kind of, at least for your big Death Star unit can kind of ameliorate that by taking Martyrs of Istvan. So you kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
Um, and you lose Eidolon, Lucius, and Fulgrim, but gain Captain Saul Tarvitz.
Yeah. So this is um, we were talking about like special characters might come into play. Losing Lucius, from what I've seen, just from you playing him, like that's a
Yeah,
big deal. Kind of, if you're the
a
kind of guy that
big
uses
deal.
special characters, like Lucius is a lot better than kind of you would expect him to be. And in return, you get Tarvitz, and his warlord trait isn't even that Martyrs of Istvan. Um,
No.
you basically just check to see if you're losing, kind of, or if you're near an objective, and then you get Fearless and an opposing
Yeah.
and another shooting phase reaction. His melee weapon is okay. I mean, it's Rending 4 and Duelist Edge 2, which is definitely good.
And it's strength 6,
Yeah.
but it's master crafted, but it's two handed. So you're not going to have the number of attacks you'd want.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
he's got like a Praetor stat line anyway, so it's
yes.
probably equal to most Praetors. But he also, when he
Brother of
is
Trade.
with in combat with an independent character who is
Who's a
also an
traitor?
Emperor's Children, who is a traitor, he gets +1 in weapon skill, strength, and toughness, which is, like we said, it's a big narrative thing. It's not going to be a thing that you're like doing because it's the best rules.
Hmm?
Very very situational, but it's a cool rule.
Yeah. You also get extra victory points. You get a bonus victory point no matter the mission. If Saul Tarvitz kills an independent traitor Emperor's Children character, and 2 bonus victory points if that character was Lucius.
Yeah, which I mean, good luck, but still, it can happen. It's a dice
It can
game.
happen. You have to kill Lucius in a challenge, which you will be the same speed, 1 weapon skill lower, but strength 7, tough 5,
Yeah,
and like 3 less attacks. So you could do it. Definitely doable. Stick him with a biomancer. Have the biomancer pump him to strength 8, and see if you can instant death Lucius.
yeah, that is a possibility. That sure is.
So Emperor's Children do have they are narratively interesting, and having a character that is specifically for the offsides loyalty is pretty fun. Honestly, leaves for some cool narrative playing, building a army of your dudes, as it were. So
Yeah,
I don't know that I have much more to say about them.
yeah, I think they come out okay.
Yeah, I think they come out better than a lot do as far as just having a specific character that's specifically for flipping the Legion.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, so Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors have always been like the big meme of, oh, if you're gonna play a flip flop Legion, you're probably gonna do that, and that is kind of true. Um, so last edition, really, it comes down to the characters, right? You lose absolutely nothing either way for Warlord traits or Rights of War. Iron Circle are still usable by loyalists. What it really comes down to is the characters. The loyalists get Kier Valen, which both of these guys are in the PDF. I'm trying to find them now. But Kier Valen is pretty good, and funnily enough, the guy who was like his traitor counterpart last edition, Erasmus Gold,
yeah,
he's not traitor only anymore for some reason.
that seems odd.
It does. Like his rules were not like fantastic before, and I think they're still like just okay now. But Kier Valen is still pretty decent.
Why don't you break us down on Kier Valen
I will as soon as I
as you
can
find him?
find him, because oh, there he is, page 78 for some reason. All right, so yeah, he's kind of has all your typical like Warsmith stuff, right? He's got your Cortex controller, your
Right.
servo arm, your melta bombs, Master of the Legion. He has battle hardened, which is pretty good. Praetor stat line, feel no pain 6, and he gets to give relentless to like an entire unit of any
Oh, that's
type.
actually fairly good.
So it's not even like infantry restricted, although it's probably going to be that because everything else has relentless. And he gets a movement phase reaction. As long as they're in your deployment zone, they get relentless. And
Ooh,
his weapon is a strength +2, AP3, breaching 4, mastercrafted blind.
dear lord.
So not too bad.
Yeah, no. Bring him, and instead of bringing the tyrants that everyone brings, this is your excuse to bring heavy weapon squads. And what is it? Do they have Iron Havocs this edition?
Yeah, Iron
Or
Havocs
they
are
cut
in
them?
the PDF as well. They're
Yep.
basically just the same. They're a heavy support slot, but with precision shot 6 up.
There you go.
And they get shrapnel cannons, auto cannons, missile cannons, or las cannons.
Hmm. Give them las cannons and give them relentless and have them walk around and snipe things out.
Yeah. So yeah,
Walking
Iron
sniping las
Warriors
cannons.
continue to be like the kind of the poster child for swapping your legions, which they kind of are in lore anyway. I think like half the legion was in garrison and just didn't even know what happened until
Yeah, they're
shit
just
was
kind
already
of
popping off.
yeah. Barbus Dantioch.
Yeah, and that leads us into White Scars, which is another one that, if there were other people that played White Scars would know that uh, there is significant possibility for traitor White Scars as well, and they get another fun warlord trait. They get Forgotten Sons is a traitor only. Basically, what that just lets you do is make the Death Dealer's reaction, which is the Sons of Horus advanced reaction. That is whether or not you have a Sons of Horus allied detachment. But if you do have one, then you automatically pass morale or pinning checks as long as you're in line of sight of the Sons of anyone from the Sons of Horus detachment. Now,
Yeah,
the
that's actually
downside is that you can still only do Death Dealers once. It does not expend a point from your reaction allotment, so you just get to do it for free. But you don't get any other like extra reaction in any phase. So there are certain instances, like I think I could actually use that to decent effect in my army. I typically run Stoic Defender and put my Praetor in a Volkite jet bike squad because the pinning is pretty useful. You're probably going to get that check. And then I think extra shooting phase is the single best phase to get a extra reaction in general.
generally is.
But getting death
I tend to
dealers,
agree.
even just once, like basically what it is it's return fire at +1 ballistic skill. And I didn't check the FAQ for the Liber Hereticus, but I think as written, it happens before casualties resolve, or like
I
before
think
the
so.
other
Yeah.
guy does his shooting attack. So
Yeah.
you can potentially like really cut down what you're about to get shot with, which is not how return fire typically works.
Yeah.
Now, in return, there is a loyalist only warlord trait called Heroes Never Die, where basically if your warlord dies, number one, he's always stubborn, but if he dies, everybody who saw it happen is fearless for the rest of the battle, and you get an extra assault phase reaction as long as he's alive, which is pretty good. It's different from that plan to fail that Broken Mirror is, in that you can really play into this. Like I've given significant thought to playing a Magyar Mazan list with Heroes Never Die, just running my guy out in the open and like sure take your take my warlord. You're not gonna get a point for him anyway because they all have the Kharash rule, which is you don't get points for killing them. And then everybody in my army who within line of sight, which is I'm gonna do pretty well to make sure it's everybody, is gonna get fearless for the rest of the battle.
Yeah.
Like it's a good one, but it's one of those that you have a specific thing in mind for.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, we're talking about you're doing narrative stuff. Those are two like really cool narrative ideas, especially because the Sons of Horus detachment that makes your traitor guys slightly better. Otherwise, you're probably taking like Born in the Saddle for difficult terrain is agnostic, so like you're not losing out there if you were going to do that. And then as
Yeah.
far as characters, like Kinza is decent. I've never used him. Solomon Khan seems kind of mid, except for the one. Uh, you can give him that one add initiative Thunderhammer attack, which is pretty good, but it's one attack,
Yeah.
and he gets his sister's waifu, which sure, like why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise like he can't.
So,
I don't think you're gonna go wrong necessarily doing this. Like I could slot this. I could run my white scars as traitors and be at the very least feel like I'm playing on equal level as I already am. I'd have to give up my sister's allied attachment, but like otherwise, like if
yeah,
you're
no,
not
I think,
like just as a general thing, I think you're gonna do okay.
yeah, white scars will be all right. I think they are not missing out.
And then we have the Space Wolves, the guys who are, for as what they'll tell you anyway, is the Emperor's executioners. They're supposed to be real shit hot, super loyalist, right? Wrong. All their warlord traits are agnostic. They have one right of war, the Black Watch, which is loyalist only, but it's an allied detachment only thing anyway. So I mean, whatever. Like, you probably weren't going to do that anyway if you were playing Traitor Space Wolves as like your main thing.
Yeah.
And none of their characters, except for Russ, are specific. Geiger Fellhand is not specific. Havaro Redblade is not specific. I checked the FAQ. Yeah, you can take those guys as traitors. Be just fine.
No way.
Way.
I'm looking it up right now. Oh, why is this a thing? Why is that a thing?
I don't know. And it's not even like the Erasmus Golg excuse where it's a PDF unit. Who cares? This is in the book.
Space Wolves just get away with it once again.
Yep. Although I'm still gonna
There's,
make fun of them for it.
there's again, as I said before, never a downside to taking Space Wolves. Yeah, they get away with it.
Like
Looking
even
through,
even the right of war that you lose isn't like it's not fantastic. Like you get hatred on everything and preferred enemy Primarch, which okay, sure.
for our discussion, there's no Primarchs on the table anyways, so.
Right. And like it's one of those things like the guys that think they're gonna like the fucking watch pack that went to watch Gilliman and were all smug about if you go traitor then we might have to kill you and we're probably gonna do it and Gilliman's just like okay bud sure.
Yeah. Didn't pretty much every one of those Black Watch packs for the traders get killed quickly and horrifically?
Yeah, the Night Haunter just tore through every single one of them.
No, no chance, zero opportunity to do anything. That just died.
They might have got like one of them might have got like one hit in and they were
Yeah,
like bodyguarding Gilliman's mom. So
yeah,
sure, Space Wolf apologists can say what you want about that, but whatever.
yeah. No, I seem to remember some other. It might have been one of those like little side short stories. I want to say it was Alfarius or one of the other Primarchs bodied all of them in fast order. Like they do not.
Possibly.
They're really living up to the executioner title. I'll tell you,
Big time.
making it happen.
All right.
All right, looking. What we got next?
Yeah,
The
so next is
Imperial.
Imperial Fist. You lose Solar Marshal next. Like, like there's
Yeah,
not
that's it.
there's not homo like Solar Marshal is loyalist only. You don't get anything for being traitor. You lose out on the Templar Assault Rite of War, but not Templar Brethren, interestingly enough. And you lose out on Sigismund and all the other characters who are all pretty decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're not Like again, like the narrative stuff, Templar Assault is kind of a narrative thing. So if you weren't going to do that with Traitor Imperial Fists anyway, it's not a huge loss.
Exactly.
If you don't care about special characters anyway, then it's not a huge loss. But yeah, losing Solar Marshal is huge.
Yeah.
Next is Night Lords. You would think that they would give up a whole lot. Not as much as you would expect. Like they have a traitor only warlord trait and no loyal only warlord trait. It's the Warmonger, where you get +1 to hit whenever you're targeting, shooting or assault, targeting independent character loyalist. And then if you have a Sons of Horus allied attachment, you also get Fearless on your Warlord. And you get an extra shooting phase reaction, which is pretty good. I don't know that I've ever run this one
I don't think it's worth
in
compared to the
Swiftblade. I
other ones.
usually Jadak Clan Lord is always good. Even in my Terror Assault list, because my guy has a jump pack, like I
Yeah.
run Jadak Clan Lord. I've run Flaymaster before, and it's fine. It's a little hard to ramp up, but I don't know. I think because you don't have to have the Sons of Horus to get that +1 to hit roll.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I mean, it's a little bit tough to pull off with having to be an independent character. There's a lot of lists that just have one of those.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess
But
if
this
you want to
extra
throw
shooting
yourself into
phase,
a,
it's the only way to get an extra shooting phase reaction outside of Stoic Defender.
you know what it does? It helps even out the um, weapon skill problems that Night Lord's Terminators have in a trader list, but that's about it.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, that still runs into the same issues of the fact that, like, if you're putting an independent character with Kantakar or Atramentar, you're losing out on Deep Strike, which is kind of the point to bring in those guys, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Atramentar, especially. Like, Kantakar are fine. They're already weapon skill 5. They have other issues. But yeah, that's. Yeah, I feel like it's just tough to use those unless you're a guy that likes land raiders and whatnot, but I'm not. So
Yeah.
yeah, but otherwise, I mean,
So,
you lose out on all the characters, which most of them are PDF guys. But like, I think Naked Thol is pretty good. Um, I think the Flaymaster is pretty decent. Obviously, Sevatar is
yeah.
great.
I think the one with the shield, I can't think of his name.
Karon Ophion.
Opera. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's cool as hell, and no one uses him.
yeah, he's real neat.
Yeah, that's not foreshadowing for my Night Lords list that will eventually happen, I promise.
Next up, we have Blood Angels. This is another one that is a loyalist and a traitor only warlord trait. And I think the loyalist one is better. But there's okay, so hear me out. I'll tell you what they are. So traitors get Thrall of the Red Thirst, which obligates you to charge if you're within 12 inches of something in the assault phase for your warlord.
Mm-hmm.
But it also gives you +2 attacks instead of +1. And this is cumulative when you get anything else, so you can still get like rage or something like that from another source.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But then the Encarmine Paladin for Loyalist only is the one that gives him fear, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like Flaymaster for Night Lords, except it stacks up to Fear 4 for some fucking reason.
Yeah,
Like you would like both of these read as like traitor archetypes. Like
they really do.
even the fluff blurb for Encarmine Paladin, the loyalist one, says that these grim avengers stride the battlefield clad in crimson fury, putting aside the high ideals that Sanguinius had sought to instill in them, and turning instead to the rage of their origins. Like if that doesn't sound like resurrected Revenant Legion, fuck Sanguinius, were murderers.
Yeah,
Like, what does? Thrall of the Red Thirst is
yeah,
like, yeah, that just happened to all of them, man. Like, they all suffered the Red Thirst.
yeah.
So, I don't know. I think
Really,
Encarmine Paladin is better.
it is. I think Thrall the Red Thirst isn't bad, But if you want to play Thrall, the Red Thirst, Blood Angels, just play World Eaters.
Yeah, I mean, you can still. So, like,
Just
you also don't lose out on, like, Dawnbreakers or Day of
sure.
Revelation. I don't think Day of Sorrows is loyalist only either. And I might take those over Berserker Assault if I was playing, like, if I wanted to be a
Play
Blood
Blood
Angel
Angels.
guy.
Yeah.
But also, like, yeah, you may as well. It's kind of the cosplay army list at that point.
Yeah.
Obviously, you also lose out on Raldoron, who fucking slaps hard. And hey, remember what we said about you lose Solar Marshal and Imperial Fists? Yeah, if you want to be that guy, not naming any names, Jake, one time. That took
Yeah.
Solar Marshal Raldoron because he can do that. Like that's a real
Yeah.
winner.
So good. Yeah, looking at it, they don't have any characters that are not loyalist locked. So yeah, like if you want to cosplay as generic world eaters, this is the way to go.
Yeah, and
Or you can
it's
just paint
even hard
world
to
eaters
say
red and just be just as
exactly
happy.
if, like, honestly, if I were to run my world leaders the way I do, which is in fact very like jump assault heavy,
Mhm.
maybe playing Thrall of the Red Thirst, Blood Angels, Day of Revelation wouldn't be the worst thing, and just run my Rampagers as Dawnbreakers. Like they'd be kind of similar.
Yeah,
But in that case, I think what you lose out on for Berserker Assault, the +2 run in charge, or yeah, is not really worth it.
yeah, I agree with you.
And also that that is only for the world or the warlords unit.
Yeah, so if you want one unit of world eaters, you you could just bring a unit of loyal world eaters.
Yeah, just bring some loyal rampagers. Who cares?
Yeah, those are
You
not.
get 2 elite slots.
Yeah, those are not traitor locked. So, which, funnily enough, we will get to in a second. I
Yeah.
guess.
So Iron Hands. Again, they have the same deal. They have a loyalist and a traitor warlord trait, which is interesting. You don't. I don't think you hear too much about traitor Iron Hands the way that you do for some of those other legions like Emperor's Children or White Scars or like Sons of Horus who we'll get to.
Right.
But they do have, and I mean, you can see like you see the narrative in your mind's eye, right? Ferris was weak. Ferris was a fool. He should have joined Fulgrim. And Fulgrim was clearly the better man. Like all that good stuff. But you don't
Yeah.
hear about that. Like that's not really a thing that was given much spotlight. So their traitor
Yeah.
only warlord trait, the Eye of Vigilance, gives you preferred enemy loyalist for your warlord and his buddies, and then once per battle, you get to make a reaction in any phase with that unit. Which, sure, I mean, it's not the worst thing. I think I think Solar Marshal just lets you do that all the time, like for reference.
Yeah.
So, like what you're gaining out of that isn't fantastic. Although preferred enemy loyalist across the board is decent.
Pretty good.
But let me tell you what you give up, right? So from Hell's Heart is the loyalist only trait. Basically, when
Oh,
your
that's
warlord
so
dies,
good.
number one, he gets fear. And then when he dies, you get to just do D6 automatic hits with one of his weapons against whoever did it. So, like in the shooting phase, hey, my guy was carrying a combi melta, have D6 automatic melta hits. Like, and I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, it says resolved using the profile, so I don't know if
Mhm.
that means they have to be in range of the melta or not. But I could see the argument for it not being the case.
Mhm.
Because it just
Doesn't
says
say.
they get automatic hits. Just
Yeah.
saying. And then if it's in the assault phase with one of his weapons, which, oops, take D6 Thunderhammers, idiot.
Get wrecked.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty good. Otherwise,
Yeah.
just the stand. Oh, and also you lose company of bitter iron, which I think is an interesting choice because that feels in a similar vein to the yo fuck Ferris, all my homies hate Ferris.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that might be a similar like narrative vibe, but and you can't take Ferris Manus in it anyway. But it is loyalist locked. Head of the Gorgon is not.
Yeah.
I think their only character is Altek Moore, who is decent, but
He's
none
not so decent
of
that I'd cry
their
over losing him.
yeah, and none of their
You have Shadrach now. You can run Shadrach
oh yeah,
medicine,
Shadrach Medusan exists.
which he's also decent. But again, you're not winning with iron hands. You were never winning off the strength of your characters, anyways.
Yeah, you're probably correct.
You were winning by bringing 21 las guns to or las cannons to an event
Yeah, you're winning by not being able to be shot off the board with as
and shooting
much.
everyone else off the board.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then the opposite of that, world eaters. You're not really probably shooting anyone off the board, but you are smashing them up good. They don't have a loyalist only warlord trait like some of the other Istvan legions do, but they do have
Mm-hmm.
a traitor only one, blood hunger, where basically your warlord just devours the souls of his enemies to
Get more
gain wounds
wounds.
back when he kills people, and it can go above his maximum, like
Up to
to a
6, I
maximum
think.
of
Yep.
6, which is fucking awesome. I use that to great effect against Death Guard once, and he just like, oh yeah, I'll take it on my Praetor because he's got 5 wounds right now. Oh, I lost a couple. Hey, I charge next turn. I'm back up to 6. Like, he just wouldn't die.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Now, I think most people are going to be taking Butcher's Claws for that +1 strength when you charge, which is uh,
Yeah.
loyalty agnostic. But Blood Hunger is still pretty good. Obviously, you lose out on Karn, who is pretty great. You do gain Shabrandar, who is he's all right. He's also in the PDF.
Is he that
I
medic one?
No, that's Galen Serlak, who you do lose out on going loyalist. But Shabrandar is okay. I've only faced against him once at an event, and he refused to get close to me because I think that was when I was running my double command squad list, and
Oh
one
yeah.
of the I think it was my Terminators were after him, so he just kept running away because Shabrandar is a bitch.
Hey man.
But he does get Breaching 4 in a challenge. He gets Rage 2, which stacks on top of the Legion trait. He has Bloody Handed as his Warlord trait, which is one of the generic ones. It's +1 to combat res, just fine. And then his Chain Sword is Brutal 2. Strength +1, Brutal 2, Breaching 6, Shred.
Mm.
And otherwise a
Not
Praetor
nothing.
stat line. It's not nothing. It's not like the best thing. He's another like narrative guy because he was at Istvan, I think.
I think.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Did
I mean,
he make
it's
it off
a
Istvan? I don't think he did. So interesting that he made the
problem.
list.
No. Yeah, no. I don't think he did.
But there was that. Have we got an Endred? We do have Endred Har, don't we?
Endred Har is a Black Shield, and I
I
think
can't
he
remember.
is Black Shield exclusive, to my recollection.
My heresy book knowledge is poop. But didn't he eventually get recruited into the
Yeah,
Knights of
Endred
Karen?
Har is one of those. This is a side tangent, but Endred Har is one of those where like people talk about Black Shields as like, whoa, their loyalty can be a little bit muddy. Maybe they're just out for themselves. But no, Endred Hard was a loyalist through and through, and I don't know what makes him a Black Shield and not just a loyalist world eater. Like I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
his model even has World Eater's iconography on him, and like
Yes.
he was at the Siege of Terra. Like I'm pretty sure spoilers. He died in the Saturnine Gambit.
I think so. I think you're right.
Abaddon kills him.
Yeah. And he was a knight errant. I'm almost 100%.
No, he. I don't think he was a knight errant. You're thinking of Macer Varen, who was the World Eater's
World
knight
Eater 1.
errant.
Also would have been a good pick for a loyalist World Eater.
Yeah, I don't remember if he ever had rules. I know there was a guy who has since moved on, I think from Hampton Roads, who talked about using him, but I don't remember if he ever actually did, if he ever had
Right.
rules. It might have just been like the build your own knight errant.
Right. That was. I don't think those work like that anymore.
No, I don't think they do either.
You can't bring a traitor, apothecary, librarian, forge lord anymore
Yeah,
with a jump pack. You used to be able to do that.
yeah. Yeah, that's it. I
OP.
mean, World Eaters. It's a neat narrative aspect. You're not going to lose a whole lot, but you're not really going to gain too much either.
Yeah.
Ultramarines. This is a really interesting one.
Yeah, that is such a cool. They have probably the. If you, I'll take this one
Yeah, go
because
for
they
it.
have. So Pride's Dark Powers, probably one of the coolest flip flop warlord traits in the books. And it says once per battle, a warlord with this trait may, at the start of any one phase in either player's turn, choose to use his leadership characteristic in place of his toughness, resolving any to wound rolls made against him until the end of the turn. So if he's leadership 10, he becomes tough 10 for your enemy's shooting phase, for instance. In addition, you get an additional reaction during the opposing player's assault phase as long as the warlord has not been removed as a casualty. So this is a really cool trait because you could use it defensively, like the book describes. You know, oh, we're going to enemy shooting phase. You also use it offensively and just throw him against something beefy that would normally carve him up, and just have him tank hits
Yeah, like
on.
what you do with this one, in my opinion, is you challenge the enemy warlord, who is probably gonna have a paragon blade, or even fucking Sigismund, and go, okay, I'm toughness 10. You literally can't hurt me.
Yep, and you
So
beat
yeah,
Sigismund in a challenge.
go ahead and be, instant death, whatever on all your hits. They just don't work. Instant death is not an auto wound.
Yeah, just fucking shut everyone down. I mean,
You could theoretically do it against like a dreadnought too,
right?
and just like you won't get instant death by it. It is still brutal 3, and then depending on the like if you still got anybody else in your squad, he might wound you on 5s,
Right.
which is probably not the case because you're probably with a squad. But yeah, like in a challenge against something that is offensively dangerous, but perhaps defensively not as much. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is really good.
This is super good. You just slow people down, have them bounce off of them. Super cool. Then really looking at it, you're not limited from taking the Logos Lectora, although I don't know why you'd want to. I still say it's the worst rite of war in the game. Um,
Now you do lose a warlord trait option, the Burden of Kings, that gives your guy it will not die 4 up and fearless anytime he is allocated a wound, saved or unsaved. So I've had this used against me, and it was incredibly frustrating because the guy would be like, "All right, I'll put one guy on my praetor. Okay, cool. It doesn't matter that I lost combat." And also, this guy is just gonna get this wound back because he said will not die 4 up. Like that kind of
yeah,
sucked.
it's beefy for sure. I don't think I ever. I don't think I ever used Burden of Kings in like the 2 years that I ran Ultramarine straight. I don't think I ever used Burden of Kings. I was always an Aegis of Wisdom guy. I actually did use Pride's Dark Power once,
Yeah.
and it was pretty hysterical because I had someone dump an entire squad of Nemesis bolters into him, and he just goes, "Yeah,
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I'm tough 10. Thanks."
Which I mean, rending 5 is still rending 5. Like that is like auto wounds, sure. But oh yeah, threes to wound. No, well, no, you have to get those rends, or you just get nothing. Good day, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Just shrugging it. It was great. Super great. And when you took it in with the what's the stupid shirt? You can give him battle harden on top of that. The mantle
Oh
of
yeah.
Ultramar.
Oh yeah, you're right. Golly.
Be immune to blind, which doesn't come up a lot. But I guess if he was getting shot by a max distance, like a max range conversion beamer, he would just shrug it.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, beep. You're only wounding me on. You had to get a 4 better to wound me. I'm not instant dying, and I'm not gonna get blinded.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Even in Victor's suzerain, that's what I was looking for. They're not loyalist exclusives. You can still bring the
Yeah. You
arguably the best.
lose nothing. There's some characters they're fine. I mean, Ventanus is in there. Honor
Well,
Telemachus is whatever.
really, Telemachus is the only like other than Gilliman. Telemachus is the only independent character that's worth taking in ultras. I think they're a step down if you're not. If you're taking any of the other ones,
Well, Telemachus is the
personally.
dreadnought.
Yeah, yes, the weapon skill 6 dreadnought.
Yeah.
Telemachus.
Oh, which I guess we should also mention that Emperor's Children would get Rylanor, who's I think he's literally just like a contemptor with a carries and a fist and crusader and an extra wound maybe, which I mean
I can't remember
cool.
his actual
Like
wound or actual
again,
weapon
if
skill.
if you're doing loyalist Emperor's Children, it's probably for the narrative and that's a neat thing.
Sure. You're gonna bring because you want to do all that nonsense, but again, I don't think it's Rylanor is more of a modeling thing in my head as a
Sure.
longtime Emperor Children player because he's not super great.
Yeah. But yeah, Ultramarines, you're losing Telemachus, which I've never seen on the table. You're losing Ventana, so I've also never seen on the table.
Ventana sucks. He doesn't suck. He's just not good enough that he's worth replacing a Praetor with.
Sure.
What does he get? He gets a special sword, a special gun, I think, but I don't think either of them is that good. No, he's got regular gun. He's just a
No,
bolt
he has a rending 5 power sword that's mastercrafted, and he automatically passes leadership and morale when he's in within 3 inches of an objective. That's his warlord trait.
yeah.
Like, sure, I guess. Like that's never a bad thing, but it's not like fantastic. It also has a Nuncio box and Melta bombs, which is not
Yeah.
nothing.
He's got a Legion standard. Doesn't that give him scoring?
Yeah, it gives him lines, so you're probably gonna have him in that objective to
Yeah.
take benefit of that warlord trait.
Yeah.
But
But I
again, that's
mean,
also like it's kind of another plan to fail trait, the way that Broken Mirror is.
yeah.
Like if for my warlord trait and not just like a piece of war gear for 5 points, I
Yeah.
don't think I would go out of my way to get that.
No. Yeah. So you're again, Ultramarines get by on the strength of just their basic stuff is so good.
Yeah,
So
and Prize Dark Power is based.
Bride's Dark Power is beyond based.
So then is Death Guard. So they do have a traitor only warlord trait, but not a loyalist only trait. They have the Reaper's Visage, which is a -2 to leadership within 12 inches when they're doing leadership tests, morale checks, or attempts to regroup. So that, interestingly enough, so this is different from Fear, number one, right? Number one, it stacks. because it isn't fear. But I
Right.
think fear is only pinning and morale, and this is any leadership test, which includes things like concussive.
Yeah. Ooh. This would be a cool one to stick on a herald. Don't heralds cause fear?
I don't remember if they do still. I know they used to could, but I don't remember if they still do.
So you might be force people -3. So losing that, I mean, it's not nothing. It's definitely a loss.
Yeah.
Do they gain anything for being?
So okay, so hold on. So they lose that warlord trait. They also lose the ability to take creeping death, which I think is a fantastic rite of war. But everybody takes the reaping. Like creeping death is great. They also lose the toxin bombs war gear, which is pretty decent. It's the one where you roll a d6 for each model in the unit that charges you, and for every one, they just get a wound that cannot be saved against except for invulns. Like
Oh yeah,
it's basically forcing a dangerous terrain check whenever you get
it's true.
charged. So you lose out on that. Obviously, you lose out on Typhon and Durek Rask, which Typhon's good. Rask, I think, is pretty decent. You do get Chrysos Morturg. He is loyalist only.
What does he do? I have never seen him
Let me pull him up
ever.
again. Chrysos Morturg, page 85 in the PDF. He has two disintegrator pistols, which is
Okay, so it's already based.
already based. An Alchem Combi Flamer, which sure. Bitter Duty, which means nothing anymore for independent characters, except he can join destroyers. Counterattack 1. Shrouded 6 up by himself, which is. Or, like, he just has Shrouded 6 up all the time.
Not bad.
His Warlord trait is the Shadow of Death during deployment. Any enemy deployment within 18 inches of him after infiltrators and scouts. If any enemy units are deployed within 18 inches of him, he gets to move 7 inches in any direction.
That's not bad.
And he can make a reaction of any kind normally allowed to them at no cost to the reaction allotment when reacting to an enemy unit entering play from reserve. Okay, so they basically get a free augury scanner. That's really weirdly worded, but that's his only extra reaction.
Eh.
And he also he's a psyker, so his psychic power is that if he's reduced to 0 wounds or otherwise removed from play as a casualty, you make a psychic check, and if you pass, he goes into reserves with 1 wound remaining and then comes back as normal. Uh, However, if you fail, then he dies and your unit suffers perils. I mean, he's leadership 9, so which is fairly standard for a psyker. You know,
That's
being
not bad.
centurions. It's not bad.
Yeah.
He has an iron halo, basically, and his melee weapon is Death's Tally, Strength +1, AP2, Melee Reaping Blow 2, overcharged. So anytime you use it, it basically has like gets hot, but it's not gets hot. It's kind of a dangerous terrain check, I guess. After you make an attack with it, after combat ends, you roll a d6 on a 1, you get a wound, which you can only take invulns against.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why that is there, but it is.
Yeah.
But
Odd.
yeah, I mean, just having 2 disintegrator pistols, he's kind of a Moritat, I guess.
Yeah.
He's also considered a Black Shield, but he's a Death Guard guy. Like his title is the Black Shield, the Revenant.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's neat, but you are losing a lot to do that.
Yeah, you definitely are. I think you're coming off worse in Death Guard.
Now
The reason why,
I will say this: of those things that you lose, not in terms of special characters, most people I've played Death Guard against are running Blood of Barbarous as their warlord trait.
yeah.
So it's like Reaper's Visage, I think, is just slept on. But it's not one of those things like, oh, if it's not Solar Marshal, right? If you can't take that, what are you doing? So like
Right.
you're
No,
giving
this
up
is
a
just.
lot of good opportunity cost, but it's things that are a lot of people get by fine without already.
Hmm. I think creeping death is so good, and it's one of those things where it's almost too good, and that's why you don't see it. People feel bad playing it.
That could be. It's also one of those things that makes Death Guard better bikers than White Scars.
Yeah.
Just
Well, it's
past
like
all
you
the
have
dangerous
creeping.
terrain.
Yeah. Basically, just forcing everyone to stand in the open, and then you walk your massed heavy weapons up and mow them down. Really
Well,
sucks to
so
play against.
no,
No
no.
one likes to
So
play against that.
the only thing Creeping Death does is it makes all the terrain not
Dangerous.
the open terrain. It's not Eschaton imperative. It just makes
Right.
all open terrain or all area terrain dangerous. Which I mean, yeah, that's a big deal. And you get Grave Wardens as non-compulsory troops, which is cool. But you're not waddling. Oh no, I guess you are, but you're not taking as many heavy supports as you are for the reaping,
Right.
and you're not getting like rad grenades on everybody.
Yeah, you still. I don't know, man. Which are Grave Wardens the ones with the grenade launchers?
Yep.
Yeah, you're taking them as troops in Creeping Death, so you're out in the open just getting bodied
Yeah.
because you can't go in wounds, jungles, woods, jungles, runes, or craters without taking the dangerous terrain chest.
Now I will say this, as someone who has taken perhaps more than my fair share of dangerous terrain checks, the punishment is very scary. However, like it's normally worth it.
Fair.
Like I get away with it a little too much, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. I have definitely had like 4 guys out of 10 drop on dangerous terrain before.
Yeah, I mean that definitely happens.
You know, then the PP hurts real bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So that
so I think
brings
that
us
brings us.
to Thousand Sons, who have a traitor only warlord trait, which basically what that does is if your warlord takes perils of the warp, no, he doesn't. An enemy unit within 6 inches of him does.
That's fairly good.
That's pretty good, yeah, especially if you're taking like a melee oriented character, which is kind of hard not to in Astartes lists. There is ample opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And it's also one of like, yeah, it's kind of a plan to fail thing, but when you consider that their basic legion trait can cause you to suffer perils of the warp, this one might be worth it.
Yeah, I think it's worth.
Now, the flip side of
But
that is that Magister of Prospero is another one of their warlord traits, and it's loyalty agnostic. And you get to basically roll 3d6, pick the best ones for psychic tests.
yeah,
So, like, which one is better? It's kind of like
I
you
don't
can
know. I think
avoid taking perils at all, or you can make the other guy take perils. I kind of think that's better.
yeah. I tell you what, Eidolon of Suffering would be a really cool one to take if you were playing loyal Thousand Sons.
Yeah, it's the one
Because you're
where
not
your
allowed to
guy
take
stopped
psychic
being a
powers.
psyker, but anytime someone does a psychic thing near him, he rolls a d6 and he can gain rage 2 and then keep increasing that rage for the duration of the battle and gets
Hmm.
an opposing
Just
shooting phase reaction or gets an extra shooting phase reaction. I've had it used
pump them.
against me. It's good.
Yeah, and also he's got Adamantium Will 3 plus, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Situationally useful, but really good, especially if you're facing the enemy is using psychic powers near you.
Yeah, so like some kind of Thousand Sons split. It'd be
Or even
super
like
cool.
demons in certain situations.
Yeah, demons. Exactly.
Space wolves.
Space Wolves. Sons of Horus. If they bring, don't they have the what is it, Dark Emissary or whatever? They have their special psyker.
That guy's not a psyker, but
Oh, he's not. Okay, I
not.
thought they had a special psyker, don't they? No, that's
Maybe a special character.
I don't know.
You might be thinking
I'm
of
sure they have.
regulars.
If they don't have it yet, from my words to GW's lips,
Yeah,
it'll be the Red Eye Psyker. The
yeah,
power of the Red Eye of Horus has made him more psychery than everyone else. They get all the toys.
yeah. Meanwhile, the Death Guard, the power of the Brown Eye of Nurgle gives them powers. Ayo.
Hey, looking.
Anyway, so their special Thousand Sun special characters are actually pretty good. Like, Araman is one of those that he gets to. His warlord trait is that he gets to use an extra reaction in any phase. Like, it's only the one like each turn, but like
Yeah,
he can do it in all of them, which we were saying earlier is good. But like, I don't think I would give up other things for that. So being for to do it once, being able to do it all the time, it's pretty good.
yeah. Magistus Amon is pretty good. Give all your scouts and infiltrators shrouded 5 up for 2 turns. People sleep on that.
Yeah,
But really, other than that, like you're not gaining anything. It's just kind of some snips here, and then if you're really playing something, there's nothing that's super like loyalist friendly in Thousand Suns. But if you wanted to really make something very fluffy, you could do a loyalist and do that. What is it? The Eidolon of Suffering.
yeah.
It's very thematic, so it's good in that way, I guess.
Yeah, and even if they're like, oh, I just want to do regular Loyalist Thousand Suns and not do anything fancy, like, you still have Magister of Prospero as a Warlord trait option, which does very similar things to Evoker of Pain. So, like,
Yeah,
you're not losing too much, but you're not gaining literally anything.
yeah. No gains, bruh.
Yeah.
No gains, bruh.
However, well, one of the ones that gain the most, perhaps, is the Arch Traitor Legion themselves, the Sons of Horus. So
Son
they
of no
get
more.
they're kind of they're another one like kind of like Iron Warriors, and the other is more so than some of the other Istvan legions. The poster children for having opposite loyalty, having loyalist Sons of Horus, and just running Luna Wolves. And they do have
Yeah,
the Wolf of Luna as a loyalist only warlord trait, where it's similar to Tarvitz's one, in that you get +1 attack when you charge or are charged by traitor Astartes,
yeah.
in addition to everything else. But they don't have to be Sons of Horus that you're being charged by,
No, it's any
which is
traders.
nice. You are giving up Chosen by Dark Gods as a possible warlord trait, which can make your guy stronger and tougher for a turn and potentially regain a wound, but can cause him to take a wound. You're
Yeah,
also giving up the Long March Rite of War, which is it's decent. I mean, it's a good one, I would say, but that is
yeah,
traitor only. And of course, you're giving up the Dark Emissary console, which I mean, okay, that the Dark Emissary is one that's already like very narrative oriented anyway. Like you're not
your
really taking that
allied
guy
thing, right?
for good rules. You're taking him because you want to put allied Sons of Horus somewhere else, and he's an okay
Yeah,
option for that. Obviously, you're losing out on Abaddon and some of the Malagers
Gallagher.
and some of the ones that came out in Siege of Cathonia, I think.
Yeah,
But you do gain good old Garviel Loken, um,
I like
whose
Garfield.
special warlord trait is just literally Wolf of Luna. Like it's the same thing. It's called the same thing. And
Yeah,
also, the first time he dies for any reason, you can give him a leadership test, and he stays in play with D3 wounds, which is a little better than Chrysos Mortar because he doesn't have to go back to reserves.
yeah. So
And
he's cool.
he has a Paragon Blade, which like most of these fancy special characters have like something that is either nichely better than a Paragon Blade, because that's the standard, right? That's what you compare it
Yeah,
to, because you're taking Praetors most of the time, Paragon Blades.
yeah.
Now, Logan just has Paragon Blade, so that's pretty good. Like, he's a pretty decent character. He even has 5 attacks, which is more than normal.
So yeah, um, he's fairly decent, yeah. And the losses aren't crippling for sure.
Yeah.
Turd bearers,
Yeah, my
word
only notes
bearers.
for this is lol. Like if you're
Lol.
if you're taking loyalist word bearers, you're basically just doing it to post Lamau. I mean, there's so much. I mean, they have a traitor exclusive warlord trait. Now, I will say this before we get into that. First edition, you were flat out barred from playing loyalist word
Yep.
bearers. That's not the
Not
case
allowed.
anymore. So, I mean, there is that. There is the opportunity. But, like, you lose basically everything. Not entirely everything. But, like, they have a traitor warlord trait that I don't want to get into. You can't take any of their rights of war. The only upgrade you can take is burning lore to give them. Oh no, it gains corrupted, so you can't even do that. You
No.
can't do dark channeling.
You basically take them as a if you want to take a generic legion, this is where you do it.
Actually, you know what? I'm looking at the corrupted unit subtype. It does not appear to explicitly be traitor only. So you could have loyalist corrupted praetor with burning lore. I mean, sure. Funnily enough, the diabolist is not traitor only. Weirdly enough,
So you could have a dark and terrible power and throw hellfire and not be evil.
yeah.
Neat.
However, all of their
Warp
special
fire or not.
units, actually, no. Ashen Circle famously are not traitor only.
Yep, and warp
Obviously,
fire is
all the
not traitor
characters are,
only.
and Galvorback certainly are.
Sure.
So yeah, the idea of like Imperial heralds still doing their iconoclasm, burning with Ashen Circle and burning, down the heretics is like probably the best narrative you could go with, but Ashen Circle themselves are kind of just fine.
I think there is some things you can do in there. So you can give that Ashen Circle the iconoclast. You can give him a warp fire pistol,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice. You can also just max out warp fire because it's not limited.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do word bearers loyal, which I have seriously considered before,
Oh, I know it.
there is some cool modeling opportunities. Like I personally would run them as a Fury of the Ancients list, and make your warlord model him as the, which is a heresy era character.
As
It's
the
a
what?
your warlord make him the anchorite,
Ah.
which works for Fury of the Ancients. Uh, he was a character dreadnought who decided, um, upon the start of the Shadow Crusade, he's like, "Wow, this kind of sucks. We're the bad guys," and he just surrendered and went back to Terra.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could kind of do that, and then you just play a loyal, paint him gold, paint everyone else gray, rock and roll,
Yeah.
max out your
I mean,
warp
there
fire.
is certainly some narrative angles to be had here, but yeah,
You do lose all your best stuff.
yeah. Well, I don't know. You still get warp fire, as we said.
Warp fire's not nothing.
It certainly is not.
So
Yeah. Otherwise, like you're just posting Lamau, like you're just being a funny guy with loyalist word bearers, unless you really believe in that.
I, just for the lulls, I would do it
Yeah.
because I'm a shit. And if you run it as Fury of the Ancients, it's like a 25 model army.
And it's being a double shit.
Yeah. You could justify doing Fury of the Ancients by saying, "Look at how much I'm giving up."
Yeah. I'm playing loyalist word bearers, bro. I'm already kneecapping myself. Don't even look at my 3 warp fire plasma support squads.
See, there you go, kids at home. We've given you the only way to get away with Fury of the Ancients and not get carried outside and shot. Play them as loyalist word bearers.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing, like, the Legion trait doesn't even work on Dreadnoughts.
No, so you really do get
It's a
nothing.
leadership thing, yeah.
See? It's the way to get away with it. Get away with it and keep getting away with it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we gotta say for them.
Yeah, so on to Salamanders. These guys, you really... there's a little bit. So it's another one of those, like, 2 Warlord trait options, which is another interesting one, because, like, you never hear about Traitor Salamanders.
Never.
And, like, I'm not entirely certain what, like, the obvious angle on that is, the way some of the others have an obvious angle for flip-flop. But they do have Redemption of Flames as their traitor-only warlord trait, which is +1 to all wound and armor pen for flame and volkite weapons against or by your warlord and his unit, which are not. I mean, they're definitely not really the weapons you want to do for vehicle hunting. It would certainly make for some interesting tank hunting volkite.
Oh man. You know what? Volkite Command Jet Bike Squad. Another way to make better bikers than White Scars.
That is exactly how I run my White Scars HQ. My warlord is in a Volkite jet bike squad.
Now he's got a +1 for the wound roll.
Which, I mean, for strength 6 isn't, like, that big a deal. Because when I was looking at these earlier, I was thinking about, I was like, what would be kind of the optimal thing? You don't want your warlord necessarily in, like, a flamer tactical support squad. Maybe, like, some guys with Dragon's Breath flamers. Can you give command squads Dragon's Breath?
You could.
Hand flamers, heavy flamers.
Are heavy flamers heavy, or are they assault this edition?
No, they're assault.
I haven't seen them.
They've always been assault.
So I mean, you stick them in a. You know what you do? You stick them in a Oh, what are those stupid? Ed runs like 40 of them. The elite unit.
Pyroclast?
With the Pyroclast, yeah. Stick with a Pyroclast squad.
Pyroclasts, yeah, they are Melta and Flame weapons. They're Dragon's Breath. But they are like Strength 6 and Strength 8. So yeah, that would be a decent tank hunter unit. Make your Melta a little bit better. Go wound dreads on 2s with Armor Bane. Like, yeah, it's not the worst option. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, because the Pyroclast weapon... How does that work? Pyroclast flame... Ooh! So... It would count as strength 7. What's tough on a dreadnought? 7? So, I mean, you're wounding dreadnoughts on a 4 with flamers.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that, though. I would just fucking pump them with Melta.
I mean, you pump with Melta. I'm just saying in general. So... I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
You can, do all kinds of neat things.
Yeah, so I guess that is a little better than I originally
vehicle
thought.
Squadron.
Yeah.
You could lay it over a vehicle squadron, like that Predator squadron. Here's your strength 7 in the ass armor, multiple hits. Just not bad.
Yeah. Or I mean, even just so like strength 9, Melta in the rear of a Predator automatically pens.
Yeah. Does it do Melta, or is it just Volkite and Flamer?
Oh, you're right. It's just flame. So no, it is considered to be both Melta and flame because it's not a Melta again. It's the Pyroclast flame projector in focused mode. So
So it
yeah,
does.
it counts.
Oh man. All right, that's actually super. Yeah, no, you take them in a squad of fire class
Yeah,
every
that's why
time. Take them
you
to
still
fire.
pump the dread with Melta, and it's strength 9 Melta.
Yeah, you just pump them. Nothing likes getting hit with strength 9 Melta.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yep,
And
nope.
in return, you have to give up the weight of duty as a warlord trait option, which gives you +1 strength to your warlord and his buddies when he's locked in combat with something with fear, and
Yeah.
also gets hatred traitors. But you are not allowed to bring destroyers or Moritats, which that was a Salamanders wide rule last
In first
edition.
edition, yeah.
The Salamanders Legion just did not contain Moritats because Vulcan has some weird ideas on what is like acceptable to do to the enemy.
You can burn elf kids alive, but you cannot give them radiation sickness.
Exactly. So they still kept that idea, but they put it in a warlord trait.
Yeah, it's
Weirdly
goofy.
enough, the Awakening Fire Rite of War is not loyalty locked, even though that's kind of like Cassian Dracos's thing, I think.
Yeah, it is his thing. Because he's the Covenant of the Awakening Fire, isn't he?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and they have a whole slew of like Cassian Dracos's buddies that are in the PDF. I'm not going to go into them, but just know that they're
Yeah.
in there and they're loyalist only if you wanted to use them. Like,
You weren't playing salamanders for your characters, anyways.
yeah, it's not like, and they're another like talk about the whole narrative aspect. You weren't gonna if you were having a narrative angle and you were gonna play Cassian Dracos and Co. Like you weren't gonna even desire to do Traitor Salamanders anyway.
Yeah. So you're really not missing out.
And I think those are the only special characters they even have are those guys. Yeah, there's
Yeah, it's
nothing in the
Cassian
book.
Draco and the
And his other hangers on, like Narek
yeah the
Drager and Xyphus Jur, I think are their
yeah
names.
Zyphus
One
Jur, I
of
think
them
that's
is an
it. Yeah.
Iron Warrior that they just kind of picked up.
Well, Narek Drager is he's Iron Warriors.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And he's like
No, you just
Xyphus
get
Jur's
the
best buddy.
chaplain. Do they have anything else? I think it's just the chaplain. Zyphus, whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
Xyphus Jur.
Yeah, he's the only one. And he's again, you're gonna take him with Cassian Draco.
Yeah.
So meh.
Yeah, so it's like two sides of the narrative coin. Like you're doing that, you're doing Traitor Salamanders with the Redemption of Flames. Which probably like if you're just like I'm going in here playing to win these guys, and we'll kind of talk about that at the end. I think for that warlord trait alone, these guys might be up there.
Yeah. I think they're neat. But I think that's pretty much all I got to say on salamanders.
Yeah, same.
I mean, if I wanted to say one parting note, I think you could do some cool modeling effects with them. Really lean into the whole where Covenant of Fire, or it's not Covenant of Fire, whatever it is.
Awakening Fire.
Redemption of
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
Redemption of
Awakening
Flames.
Fire, Redemption of Flame. Oh wait, the Psyker thing, is that a flame template weapon? Salamander's
It
Fury.
is no, it's just a psychic weapon with
Deflagrate spell
deflagrate.
Psyker. All right. See, I was wondering if
If that would apply.
yeah, but still, it'd be a cool thing. Put that in. Put the do the Awakening Fire. Be evil. Yeah, you could be super cool with it. Like, here's my evil salamander um force, and just do your whole army just burnt up.
Yeah, it'd be neat.
Go 3D print a bunch of bits off of the old Legion of the Damned and have them all covered in fires and skulls and shit.
Oh, true.
Super cool. It's a cool modeling opportunity, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And I think that leads us to Raven Guard.
Yep. So Raven Guard, they don't lose, or they don't get a whole lot. They're another one with, weirdly enough, a traitor only warlord trait. No gods or masters. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when in base to base contact with enemy infantry or cavalry, whose weapon skill, strength, or initiative is higher than this warlord trait increases those characteristics to match the enemy. So when you're like, oh, fucking demon sovereign, right? Comes
Mm-hmm.
in here being strength like 8 base, I think, strength 7 base,
Yeah.
weapon skill 6, which I mean probably is anyway, initiative 6. Like, oh no, I guess it doesn't work because it's infantry or cavalry only. So
You know where it does? It doesn't say base. It just says if their skill is higher, not their base skill. So you bring
yes.
in some of those guys that pump their skill, like you could counter. Well, no, because you be traitor. You could really
Biomancy, if
fight
the
off
enemy uses
Sigismund.
biomancy and charges at you, then haha, me too,
Yeah,
buddy.
exactly. Um, you could match
Or
Sigismund or any of those other guys. They're super high weapon skill.
yeah, or any of those previous guys that we've gone over that are loyalist only. They get +1 weapon
Yeah,
skill, or some. I think there's some things that get +1 weapon skill in a challenge.
yeah.
No, that was the World Eater's trait last edition, or one of them. Never mind, I don't know what does that. But I'm sure there are several cases. I don't know. Maybe the enemy's running fucking Solomon Khan, who's strength five.
All targets gets +1 weapon skill in a challenge,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and he gets
So
+2 initiative. So you would go up the initiative with him.
right. Oh yeah, because you're right. It does not say base, so even if they had like duelist edge or something, that would
Yep, it would
probably
copy it.
count.
It would copy it. Yeah, because that's a increase their weapon skill,
Yeah, or initiative.
increase
Yeah,
their initiative. Yeah. So anything that buffs them buffs you. So yeah,
yeah,
this is you throw them in a damn challenge, and it works pretty good with. Oh yeah, decap strike. So kind of good.
yeah. They do have a loyalist only warlord trait that you're giving up, the Bane of Tyrants, that gives you just a flat +1 attack and strength in a challenge, and +2 if it's the enemy warlord, which is like more often useful, but perhaps not as interesting.
Yeah. Oh, you could do this. Could you do some neat stuff with Liberation Force here?
No, you
Since you have,
can't because it is loyalist only.
is it?
It
Oh
is.
yeah, nope, it's loyal. Yep, never mind. My brain, I missed that. My brain was thinking about taking the cult psychers or whatever they are in the militia and being based, but nope, you don't get to be based like that.
Yeah. Now they do also lose the better deliverers. Deliverers have different rules based on if they're loyalist or traitor, and when they're loyalist, they're battle hardened, and when they're traitor, they gain hatred Korax. Like, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah. On the flip, I think in the deliverer's entry describes it. If you're running evil Raven Guard, you paint them red, so you can paint your Raven Guard red, whole army, I guess.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, this is another weird one where they don't lose their special character because where is he? Strike Captain Alvarex Mon, page 71 of the PDF for those following along, is a guy that makes your deep strikes better.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a mini master of signals, and he is not loyalty locked.
Oh, that is useful. That's super neat, actually.
Yeah,
So you can really get into that, lean into that whole character hunting, decap strike, no gods and no masters.
yeah,
Bring him in the list and just put your squad of evil what are those guys called?
Delivers.
Evil deliverers or evil dark furies, right where you want them, and go
Oh yeah.
slice up. Yeah, dark furies are still the way to go, pretty much all the
Oh
time.
yeah. I mean, absolutely. 100%.
I actually think people sleep on Mordathan, but that's I think another episode.
I don't think they do. It's rare that I see Raven Guard, but there's always some more Dathan in there.
I don't think people run them right. In my armchair quarterback opinion, I have never seen them run right.
Interesting. Well, I know. I mean, I know they're different now. Like, you used to take them for the one-turn rending flamers, which you still do.
You still do. Fatal Strike, running 4 up.
Yeah. But now they're 1 in every 3 as flamers, which I don't remember what they were.
Well, no, because here's the thing: you can't do it the flamers anymore because it doesn't apply to any weapons that are template or blast.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So
Yeah.
the secret tech you do is you load the entire squad up with combi Volkite,
Yeah.
and you pump them with combi Volkite.
Yeah, because it doesn't work on anything that already has rending, so Nemesis bolters are out.
The plasma gun you have you're trading what breaching for rending,
Yeah, which I mean, whatever.
whatever. Yeah, now
Missile launchers would be really interesting, but I don't think you would get enough shots to make that
no,
one
because
per
1 in 3,
battle
yeah,
thing work.
yeah, because you get maximum 3 shots. 3 rending missile launcher shots, and it would only be on the crack, not the frag, which is where you would want it.
Right.
So now you load them up with Volkite, and you do ugly things to people at close range.
You do strange things to their warriors.
That's right. You get your aren't Volkites in canon like heat guns,
Yeah. Like heat
as
rays.
opposed to plasma guns which shoot hot air, and melta guns that shoot hot air, and flamers do presumably shoot hot air. Volkite guns shoot their own special hot air.
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, when you think about it, all electricity generation is just boiling water too, so.
Yeah. Other than las cannons, well, no, because las cannons are particle beams too.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's your solar power, I guess.
Literally every energy weapon in Warhammer is the same thing, and it makes me upset the more I think about it. All right, I'm gonna
Look,
stop
man,
thinking
we're
about
going
this.
to build a Dyson sphere around the sun, capture all the energy, and it's still just going to be used to boil water.
Yep.
All right.
Woe to the Republic.
All right, so that. What?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that.
You and I were gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, it just leads us to Alpha Legion, which is probably also like another poster child for loyalty swapping, and kind of contrary to the other legions that get, if they get one that's opposite for warlord traits, they'll have one that's exclusive to their general
Mm-hmm.
loyalty. The Alpha Legion don't have a traitor only warlord trait. They do have a loyalist only warlord trait. The Morbius configuration, that's what it's called. I will die on that hill. I won't die on that hill because you can't kill me. You're gonna morb on them.
That's right.
Yeah, where it basically makes it's another one that's like allies flavoring, but they're always
Yeah.
fellow warriors, no matter what, and they also do not give up victory points for being killed, no matter what. And if all of your allies die, you get +1 victory point. However, your allies can never make any reactions, but the first reaction that your primary detachment makes is free each turn.
Kind of neat, but it kind of relies to get the full English out of it. You got to take allies.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the to get basically anything out of it other than a free reaction. The first one you take, that's the first one you take in the entire turn, by the way. So if you were only going to take one movement phase reaction anyway, I mean, sorry, that was your free one and you wasted it.
Yep. So
Otherwise, they're they don't have any traitor only war gear, rights of war, um, headhunters, and all. Armorless Dynat even is not locked.
yeah,
Exodus is not even just
no.
one guy, so he's not. Interestingly enough, Autalon Score, which I think is the first captain anyway, but he is loyalty locked to be traitor only. He is
Yeah.
in the PDF.
Hey, you know what? I don't see traitor in Alferis's rules.
Hold up.
Am I tripping?
You sure aren't.
The
I mean,
only
if let
Primarch you can
me,
play on either side of the table. That is stupid.
which yeah, I'm looking at other ones. Corvus Corax, Loyalist,
Yeah, everyone else is. So, for those of you who are
Vulcan
newer to the
Loyalist.
heresy, some of the traitor Primarchs had loyalist locked weapons or profiles. But that went away in Heresy 2. Like,
What do you
Fulgrim
mean?
could take the Fireblade, that was loyalist. You could play Fulgrim, because the early Horus Heresy 1, you could play Fulgrim loyalist. You could give him the Fireblade and have him be loyalist. It was his loyal weapon. The Blade of Lair had to be played as a traitor. Or something like that.
Yeah,
Or if it was
that
on the
that
Fireblade or
that
the Blade of Lair was like traitor
sounds
only.
wrong. I think they were just like upgrade. Hold on, let me pull out my old red book.
I think the um, Blade of Lair was traitor only or something silly like that.
So he
If you
had
wanted to run him,
Firebrand, which was just a thing. The Blade of the Lair was just a thing.
was that what it is? All right. For some reason, I thought
No,
it
yeah,
was
Fulgrim
something
even
like
has
that.
he has a little box because before like special rules for loyalty, he just had a little box. Is a traitor faction only thing.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah,
I don't know why I remembered
Alfarius.
him.
You know
Yeah.
what? Even while I've got this book out, I'm gonna go look at Alfarius' first edition rules. Yeah, he was traitor locked last edition.
But now he's not.
But now he's not. That is very. Is there anything in the rest of this before we make fools of ourselves again?
I mean, we're going to make fools of ourselves. That's just.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
a given.
not. There's nothing that I can see at a glance in his other rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just. He is a. You can run Omegon.
I kind of love it, to be honest. I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we had said that we were kind of not gonna like really talk about Primarchs, but I feel like this is the special case where it is definitely worth bringing up because it is valid.
Yeah. I'm going to say, like, not only is it valid,
May even be based.
it's based. It's definitely based. Like, this is if we're gonna rate legions on their ability to flop sides, I think Alpha Legion's gonna have to go right to the top just on that alone.
Yeah, just for that.
You're never blocked from taking your Primarch is huge.
Yeah.
You know. So If they were the top, I'd say probably the word bearers are the bottom of that list.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would say, well, originally because I mean, I didn't even look at
Yeah.
Alfarius when I was looking at these earlier. I'd say that the most that you gain or that gain from switching sides is Iron Warriors for Kier Valen. I'd say Salamanders now after seeing Redemption of Flame. Like that's pretty good. Ultramarines just because of how good Pride's Dark Power is, and Emperor's Children. Although I don't know about that now. I think losing surgical augments is a really big deal, and
Yeah.
Martyrs of Istvan isn't really worth like not as much.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'm take like from the perspective of I'm a power gamer and I want to win my games. What is the best one to take a flip flop rules for? I don't think I'm playing Loyalist Emperor's Children just for Martyrs of Istvan. I
Although,
might be playing Salamanders just for Redemption of Fire.
wait, let me see something. +1 to all hit rolls made. Now let's look at how does that stack with Phoenix Terminators? Because they have the don't they have the thing with the stances?
Oh wait, I forgot what Martyrs of Istvan was. No, I would totally play, just for that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play
Is good.
just for Tarvitz, and losing surgical augments is kind of a big deal. So I don't know. I
Because
feel like they're a toss up.
didn't Phoenix Terminators get changed, get PDF'd or changed so they have the skill unmatched now? I thought they did.
Maybe I didn't look at the Hereticus FAQ. I only looked at I don't, the only reason I looked at the FAQ period was to see if the Space Wolves guys were
Yeah.
supposed to be loyal locked, and they're not.
But oh, Phoenix Warden. Oh, so the Phoenix. So you could get with say a Phoenix Warden or he's already weapon skill 5. You can give him weapon skill 6, make him effective 7. Ooh,
Yeah. Well, remember it's +1 to hit rolls as well. So weapon skill 7 may not. It may be in certain
yeah.
circumstances more like 8.
Oh no, wait. So they increased to 6, and then they would get an additional, so they would hit as if they were 7. They could also, yeah, no, you could stack some things in here in a stupid way.
Yeah.
You could do some silly stacking and kind of make up for not having the subsonic
Yeah.
pulsar and the sonic shriekers.
Yeah, so I take that back. I think Emperor's Children stand to gain a good bit, even though they lose some. So I'd stand
Yeah,
by Iron Warriors, Ultramarines, Salamanders, Emperor's Children.
they
Um,
set up high.
Probably not. Alpha Legion don't gain that much because you already get Alfarius, and like
Yeah,
Morbius configuration is fine, but like I don't know. I'm not jumping out of my seat for it. Extra points is
yeah,
nice, but whatever.
yeah.
Um,
Like, but again, being able to take your Primarch and be on the wrong side is huge.
Yeah, I mean that's more of gain great meme potential,
Yeah,
but at this point I'm just looking at rules like what do you get for abandoning your main force? I think those guys went
yeah,
out
not a
big.
lot.
I think the biggest losers are obviously word bearers. Like
Yeah,
that goes without saying. I think Death Guard. I think you give up too much good stuff
that
for
too.
not a lot of gain. Imperial Fists, obviously losing Solar Marshal is
And Sigismund
and
and Templar
Sigismund. You lose
and the
Templar
Templar
Assault, but
Rite
you
of
don't
War.
lose Templar Brethren, and I don't know that. So my thing about Imperial Fists is that I know that they're like one of the best armies in the game, and I don't even know what their rights of war do because they don't need to take them. So I don't even know
Correct.
what Templar Brother or Templar Assault does, and I kind of refuse to find out.
I mean, you can still take Stone Gauntlet, which is the one people take.
Yeah, you can still take Stone Gauntlet, or what's the other one? Phalanx.
Whatever it is, the Phalanx. No, Stone Gauntlet is the Phalanx Warder
Oh,
one.
no, Hammerfall Strike Force.
Hammerfall Strike Force.
That's
That's
what I
what
was
it is.
thinking of. Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
Blood Angels are not getting anything out of being like.
no, they're not gaining like literally anything.
I'm really undersold on them. I don't love that at all.
Yeah, I mean, giving up Raldoram is pretty big. Even if you were to take that in Carmine Paladin, like that's pretty big too. I think
Cosplaying
Raven
one
Guard.
squad as Violence Incarnate is not worth it.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Raven Guard are another big loser. Just losing the good deliverers. Like one of the things that makes deliverers so good. Like yeah, they have weapon skill 5 Raven Talons and Cataphractic Terminator armor with Deep Strike. Like all of that by itself is a fantastic package. But the fact that the Loyalist version gets battle hardened 1,
yeah, I mean that's
like yeah,
huge.
go ahead and eat all the power fists.
Yeah,
Eat all the
you
las
are not
cannons
wrong.
even. Like who cares?
Yeah, you don't give a fuck. Yeah, so if you want to do it, you can always do it, guys. I guess is the takeaway.
Yeah, from a narrative
Just know your
perspective,
mileage
I
may
think some of the
vary.
big losers are big winners if you're just doing a narrative theme. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
that anchorite word bearers or the iconoclast burn down the traitors and burn down the effigies to the dark gods and use a bunch of Ashen Circle. That's really cool.
yeah,
Obviously, any of the Istvan stuff is going to be huge from a narrative perspective.
yeah. So I think it's always fun to do, and it's something to keep in mind beyond just narrative stuff. A lot of times events have a limit on who can play what side. So many people need to be loyal, so many need to be traitor. So I think it's worth at least for my part, I might think about after doing this. I might think about when I go to these events. Throwing an extra squad or two in the bag so I can flop my list around and do them for the other team if I need to.
Sure.
Something you can do. Something for the viewer at home to think about.
Yeah, I think if I ever end up being forced to play Trader White Scars for whatever reason, I'll try that. What is it?
Sagir, Mazan, and
No, that's like I mean, I'm just gonna run the
well,
exact same list and take Forgotten Sons as my warlord trait
yeah, Forgotten
and
Sons.
have
Yeah,
Death Dealer Volkite bikes.
yeah, super sick. I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, just close out. We do have a bunch of other episodes that we're planning on throwing out there. I know we're gonna look forward to looking at some underrated units, and Gray can talk more about Mordathan then and how to use them properly, as well as just like I'm probably gonna talk about like I don't know Flamer squads or something. I think they're still pretty neat. Um,
Yeah.
don't hold me to that. And then Warlord. I mean, we talked a lot about Warlord traits today, but I think there is a lot that we can dig into as to what the good ones really are in general, and that'll include, some of the generic ones. Yeah, but I guess just to
Yeah.
close this out, if you're gonna roll piss, you may as well piss in the eyes of your Primarch. Play a different loyalty.
Yeah. Do it. Unless you're Alpha Legion, in which case you just roll piss on. You just don't play.
Yeah, and your Primarch just still pisses on you, I guess.
Primarch pisses on you.
Somebody's doing the pissing.
You don't roll. You just get pissed.